welcome to the Rock Your Dream Body and Dream Life interview series. Today, I am here with my good friend, Kimberly Murgatroyd. So Kimberly and her husband, Rob, began their online business, Jet Set Life TV, as a way to share their love of boutique travel. Over the last 10 years, they've expanded into a full lifestyle brand. Through their website and Jet Set Life podcast, they share tips and strategies for creating a residual income from your passion so you can work from anywhere and design the life of your dreams.
Woo-woo! Isn't that nice? Who doesn't want the life of their dreams?
Right? They operate their life from the mindset of excuses are over, it's time to live. In addition to that, Kimberly has her degree in exercise science and nutrition, and she spent over 10 years as a national level fitness competitor and has been featured in Oxygen Fitness Magazine, Muscle and Fitness, and Natural Muscle Magazine. Kimberly is a mastermind behind their 90-day fitness transformation program called Jet Set Body, which has been featured in mensfitness.com, bodybuilding.com, and the pages of Iron Man magazine. And on top of all of that, Kim is also a mommy of an almost 2-year-old little munchkin that keeps her on her toes. So welcome, Kim.
Hi, thank you for having me, Sheila.
Yes, and go ahead.
No, we're rolling.
I was just going to say, I'm so excited to talk to you because I think that your story is something that so many moms in our community can relate to, because I know that as you can, share your story with us, but I'm sure your idea of your dream body has sort of changed and shifted over time, especially as you became a mom. So let's start out by just talking about that. Tell me a little bit about what it means to rock your dream body and your dream life for you now.
So, for sure, being a mom, being pregnant will change your body for sure. And as you're watching your body expand, not everybody has a really great pregnancy. And I was grateful to have a great pregnancy, but I also made it a point to take care of my body during pregnancy. I didn't want to go into the whole, I'm pregnant, I'm going to eat everything under the sun. The way I looked at it was, I'm growing a human, so let me give her the best possible nutrition from day one, because that was really important to me. So by doing that, I actually had a really great pregnancy, and I hated yoga before I got pregnant, but then when I got pregnant, I loved it because I felt like it was a way to connect with my baby, and it felt really good. And I credit doing yoga during pregnancy to another reason why I had such a great pregnancy. And I really loved my body pregnant. I loved looking at the baby change and it grow, and not everybody has that, and I get that. And there's probably a lot of women that were like, I hated being pregnant. My feet were swollen. And why is this girl just talking about how she had a wonderful pregnancy? But I was blessed with that, and I'm grateful for that. And I enjoyed that. Then when I had the baby, things didn't look the way they used to. And when you're a fitness competitor, you're so used to looking at your body stage ready that it's hard, even without being pregnant, to not be stage ready all the time. But you can't be, and you shouldn't be, because there needs to be flexibility in your life. And I don't know, I just felt like when I was no longer pregnant, that I knew my body was going to look different. And I knew that I was going to continue nursing my baby. So again, wanting to give her the best nutrition possible. And I just kind of stayed on that path. And, I'm the crazy nursing mom. I mean, she's almost 2, we're still nursing. And so my body is not my own right now. I don't have the luxury of saying, I'm going to go hit it as hard as I can in the gym, and I'm going to, diet back down so I can have my perfect stage ready body again, because my body is for her right now. And so where I am today, and I don't know if any of this babble makes sense, but where I am today is, and where I have been since I got pregnant, is my body is for my daughter right now. And it's all about her. And then once I'm done nursing and, all of that, then I can, reshape my body. But, you just got to love your body at every stage, I think, because when I was pregnant, I loved my body. When I just had the baby, you still have a pooch and you're going like, but the baby's gone. So why is that not gone? But you have to just roll with it and know that these are all changes that are going to happen to your body, and things don't look the way they did. Like for some reason, my butt is gone. I don't know why the baby took my butt. She did. I mean, I didn't have a big butt to begin with. Like I was trying to build a booty, and whatever I had is like MIA. So it's like concave now, but I'm working on it. And where I am today is, building a little bit of a booty and trying to still be fit, because I also don't succumb to the notion that once you have kids, it's over for your body, because I have too many great role models. My best friend has 4 babies and she looks insane. Like she looks amazing. And, but she works really hard at it too, so it's not just, she was born that way. She works really, really hard. And so my time to work really, really hard to reshape my body is coming. It's just not there yet. So.
Yeah. So it sounds to me, and like what I'm hearing is that you're giving yourself permission to take some time and not maybe push so hard, and be with what is, and be okay with where you're at right now, knowing that, you can still get back to that goal, or finding a way to sort of nourish your way there.
Yeah. Yeah, because I need to, again, like I'm feeding a human, and she eats too. So, and we don't nurse all day long. So I do have a more flexibility, and I have picked up my workouts more in the gym, but I have such a short period of time to be able to do this with her. And it's important to me, and it's important to me to give my body the best and give her the best doing that. And yeah, my hormones might stay out of whack, and my body's going to hold on to more body fat while I'm nursing. It's just the way it goes, and it's the way my body is working, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And that's something that really, I think, took having a baby to become okay with, because again, you go back to that fitness competitor mindset where you always want to look stage ready, and that's just not possible. And so you're always competing in your brain with that image of yourself that you see, like when I was maybe in a magazine or just when I did a photo shoot. And I'm like, God. And at that time, I didn't realize how good I looked. Like, my God. So now having it not be about me and it be about her, it's a whole different ballgame for me. And so I'm not hung up on what my body looks like all the time. Of course, like summer's coming. I want to wear a 2-piece. I want to go to the beach. I want to feel comfortable. And, I can't really walk around going, yeah, but I'm still a nursing mom. Like that's not a badge of honor. It doesn't make sense. And my boobs are huge, and not because I want them huge. They're huge because they're so amazing. And that's hard sometimes because you can't wear certain things. And it's like, God, but it is what it is. And you got to love your body where you're at.
Yeah. And so how are you plugging it in? Like your nutrition, your movement, all of these things right now. I know you said before we started the recording, she was up last night throwing up. So it's like, this is like real life stuff that happens. And I have some moms that say like, literally, I ate crumbs off my kid's plate for lunch today. So for you, how is it working?
So when I first had the baby, it was a crap show. It was like, I was literally feeding this human 24/7, sitting on a couch. Like she would sleep long periods, but she wanted to sleep on me and not necessarily in her crib. And so I had to find another solution to eat, because I would make a sandwich, which I wasn't even like a sandwich person, but it's all I knew to do because I didn't have time to make meals. And so I'd make a sandwich and it would literally sit like an inch away from me for an hour. And I was like, not able to eat that sandwich because like one hand was doing something, or it never worked out. So I went back to using the shakes that I would use, and they're all natural and all of that. So no one has to stress about what I'm feeding my body. Because I know a lot of people freak about that. I actually brought my shakes to the pediatrician to make sure that she was on board with it. And she was like, this is amazing. So, I started implementing shakes back into my diet that I had done when I was competing. And I had done through my pregnancy as well. And I started implementing that, and that made it really easy because I could make a shake and drink it and do what I needed to do. I didn't have to worry about cooking a meal and, the components of the meal being, protein, fat, carbs. I didn't have to worry about it. It was all there for me. So I continue to do that today because I'm busy. I have 3 companies and 3 jobs, 3 companies. I have a baby. I work at home. I have a husband. We have an older 18-year-old as well, who she's my stepdaughter. I've been raising her since she was 5. So she's basically, I think she's mine. And a dog. I mean, they're complicated. So I have a busy life. And for me, supplementing a couple of meals and then having dinner with my family is how I do it. And that's how I make time for nutrition. Now on the other side of it, the exercise, it's been a struggle, honestly, because like you said, I was up at 3 a.m. and for the first year of her life, I really struggled with exercise because again, there are times when your baby wants to sleep on you, and there are times, and you don't get those times back. Those moments you don't get back. And for me to be like, no, you're not going to sleep on me. I'm going to shove you in this and you're going to deal with it so mommy can work out, doesn't work for me. So my relationship with my baby, and I put her first. And for me, that's how I do it. And, there's a lot of moms that everybody has to do it different, and my way is my way. And you've got to find what works for you. My best friend gets up at 4 a.m. and she goes to the gym before anybody in her house wakes up. That's how she does it. That doesn't work for me and my lifestyle, the way my husband gets up really early in the morning to go to work. So it doesn't work for me, but I have to find my way. So the first year was really a struggle. And I also didn't want to damage my milk supply. So I did some workouts at home. I was not consistent, which is weird because I've worked out since I was a kid. Like I was a gymnast. I played soccer. I worked in a gym since I was 16. Like I've always worked out. So it was a really weird thing for me to not work out. And that was a struggle for sure. And I did share that a lot with other moms on Facebook and stuff, that this is the biggest struggle of my life, is getting to the gym. And so finally I said, I'm going to get a membership. When she turned 1, I felt comfortable putting her in a daycare. And I didn't want to go to a big box gym because I didn't trust their daycare. Honestly, no knock to it, but for some reason I didn't trust it. So I found this little church gym. So I literally go with all people probably twice my age to a little church gym because I trust their daycare. And she loves it. And I go now 2 to 3 times a week. But I don't operate from the no excuses attitude because it's really hard, I think, to operate from that place. I see that a lot. I'm in it to win it, no excuses. Well, my baby puked on me for 2 hours last night. The chances of me going to the gym this morning were super slim because she's still sick and I can't bring her to daycare. And she wants to be held and she wants to be rocked and she's sick. So that's my excuse for today. And I'm going to use it because that's important to me. Do you know what I mean? I need to be there for her. And then tomorrow when she's not sick, or if my husband can take her for a little while, I'll go get my workout. But I'm a mom first, So that whole, there is no excuses. I don't identify with that for moms and their body and working out and eating. Sometimes it's a crap show and you just do what you can do. I mean, Monday I took her diaper off, poop, flu. It was the Monday of all Mondays. And, it was really literally a crap show. So it was God. And I got to the gym and they were like, oh, we don't have her on daycare. I'm like, please, I need this so bad today. They were like, we'll take her. We love her. I'm like, thank God. So, and then I went and did my Silver Sneakers program with all of the older folk in the gym. And,
I think
you gotta do.
Yes, that's exactly it. I think that giving yourself permission to be okay with what you can get in today. And sometimes just having, like you said, the nutrition, those are the same, that's the nutrition line that I use with my clients. And it's so good. I actually had one client recently, I was going to tell you this. She took it to her chiropractor and her chiropractor was like, oh yeah, I have this other client. She's loving it. She used it all throughout her pregnancy and she had the healthiest placenta that her OBGYN had ever seen.
Yeah.
whoa, okay, cool, but ew, but oh yeah, like that's awesome.
Listen, you want you? I actually had a placenta smoothie after I gave birth. You want you? I mean, that's
Oh
probably too much information right there for everybody that's tuning in. But
I know.
I lean kooky natural, super natural. So having an all natural supplement line was super important to me. My pediatrician, you'll like this, is an integrative health pediatrician. So she actually was a fellow under Dr. Andrew Weil, who, you know who he is. He actually, everybody that loves True Food Restaurant, that's based on him and his anti-inflammatory diet. So as most doctors do not have any education whatsoever in nutrition, mine has all education in nutrition for the pediatrician does. And so I knew bringing this to her, it took her like 2 or 3 days. She went line by line, ingredient by ingredient on all of the products that I take, and approved, you know, what she approved, which was pretty much everything, except a couple of things that had herbs in it, because there are certain herbs that you can't take when you're pregnant and nursing. But she was like, she actually thought when I brought it to her, Sophia was like 2 months old. And I said, can you just approve this for me, you know? And she said, okay. And so she did. She came back. She said, this is going to be amazing nutrition when she's about 7 or 8 months old. And I was like, no, I mean, I wanted to use it now because I'm nursing. And she's like, oh, absolutely. This is incredible for you. But for her, when she's 7 or 8 months old, this is amazing. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, that's awesome. So, I mean, and by the way, just this morning, she won't eat anything. And so I make this shake with a banana, and I freeze it like ice cream. And so she feels like crap today. She won't eat any of her normal foods. And I cut that up and fed it to her. And I don't know if maybe she has a sore throat, but it's cold and it tastes good and she's getting great nutrition. And that's what she had today for breakfast. And that's probably what she'll eat all day. And it's perfectly fine with me. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, getting back to this idea of just making it very simple, especially when you're a new mom. Like, don't overcomplicating things. Celebrate every time you get to the gym. Celebrate every time you get in a whole food, like, you know, nutrition-based meal. And that's what creates that positive momentum. Because then you're like, I'm winning, versus like, I suck. And the more you tell yourself you suck, the more you just spiral in that sort of direction.
Yep. And there's a reason for everything. Like, that's, I think, a difference between, you know, you keeping it together when you have like a crap show one day and you like going insane, because you have to roll with it and you have to realize there's a reason for everything. So if your baby is sick, there's a reason she's sick. She has an infection. She has something. You have to go towards that. You have to work through that with her instead of just panicking and, oh my God, it's ruining my day. And what am I going to do? And who, you know what I mean? And I'm grateful. I'm so beyond grateful that I get to be home with her, because not every mom has the opportunity to be home with their kid when they're sick. And so they have to punt and find another way to roll with it. But I think with kids, that flexibility, having flexibility in your life, having flexibility in your schedule. I didn't get to the gym today, I'm going to go tomorrow. And that's how that's going to be. And you can't be tied to that. You have to be flexible, because with yourself, with nutrition, with your family, you know, you have to be flexible, because as she gets older, there's going to be other things. And, you know, we live a very balanced life with food. We're not super crazy about, you know, every single little thing that we put in our body. I want it to be healthy and to be natural for the most part. You're not going to find junk food in my house, and I'm not going to feed my kid junk food. At this age, at 2, she eats what we eat. So if we eat fish, she eats fish. If we eat sweet potatoes, she eats sweet potatoes. Like, that's what we do. There's kids are not lacking in junk food and sugar and white, you know, starches and stuff like that. They're not lacking in that. They actually need proper nutrition to grow. So we have that. But then when I give her strawberries, I put a little cocoa whip on top, or, you know, a little halo top ice cream. She goes crazy. She loves it. So there's, you know, flexibility in your diet to have a cupcake sometimes too. You know what I mean? Like, I live above Georgetown Cupcakes. Do you know what that's like in the morning when they're cooking them? Like,
oh, man.
Literally, it like comes up. I live 19 stories above Georgetown cupcakes, and all I smell is Georgetown cupcakes.
I smell bacon. There's a burger place below me. So all day long I smell bacon and garlic. I'm like,
oh God, that would kill me. That would for sure kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, it makes so much sense. And I think it also ties into like the emotional health stuff, the work that I do with women, is this idea of doing whatever it takes to get yourself out of that victim mindset and into that higher vibe where you can be in appreciation for this time that you have right now with your little one.
Yeah.
So
you only get so much time. You know, she's only little once, and I can worry about my body for the rest of my life. But right now I am doing what's best. And by the way, when you do what's best for your body, for your child, like if you're a nursing mom, if you're not, I know not every mom can be a nursing mom, but if you are one and you're doing what's best for your kid by feeding yourself proper nutrition so they get proper nutrition, that kind of handles most of the body issues, because you are giving your body everything it needs, and your body will function the way it should. And, you know, the bloating isn't there and all of that. Of course, I have fluffy around my middle. I want gone. I'm going to the Bahamas in 2 weeks. I don't want that there, but you know, it is what it is. And like I said, my butt, it's going the wrong direction. I mean, it's concave at this point. It's going to take time to build that back. I mean, I don't know. I still don't know where that went, but you got to be okay with it. And I'm okay with it. You know, do I want it to be different? Sure. But I get such a small time with her. And, you know, if you take care of yourself, you'll be in a much better place once you're not pregnant anymore or whatever, to be able to bring your body back in a better way. And I actually think moms that take great care of themselves and work out have better bodies than the youngins, you know, that are just, you know, 20 and bopping around a gym. And like, I think the moms' bodies are better. You have muscle maturity, and you have, you know, you might have stretch marks from your baby. And I think that's beautiful. You know what I mean? Like what better war marks are than that, you know?
yeah. And it's almost like your why changes. And I know that's something that you are big on talking about, your why, like why you're doing this, not necessarily like just about your body, but even your lifestyle, everything that you do. Mm-hmm. So can you talk a little bit about that? Like operating from your why, like in general, about designing your dream life?
Yeah. So my husband and I are really, really passionate, and always have been, about designing our lifestyle around our passions and what we want. We don't conform to the 9-to-5 philosophy. When we first started, people kind of thought we were crazy, and they were like, yeah, but you're going to do what now? You're going to travel around the world and you're going to shoot videos and you're going to what? Like, you know, and we were like, no, it's what we want to do. And we want to create a company, and we want to sell products online so we can have time freedom, and we want to create a residual income so we can have time freedom. It's not about the money. I mean, it is about the money in some respects, and that's totally okay. And you've got to be okay with that, because everybody has a rent or mortgage to pay. Everybody has to buy food. Everybody's got to put gas in their car, and everybody likes vacations and to do different things. And it's not about stuff. You know, I think there's a difference between making it about stuff, your why, making your why about having stuff or having money. If those are your goals, you're probably not going to achieve them if they're just related to things. You know, I want a Ferrari, I want this, I want that. Those are not emotional. Your why is really your emotional goal. So why do we want this time freedom? Why do we want to, you know, travel around the world? Why do we want to do these things? And a lot of it is so we can spend this time together, because life is not just about working, making money, paying your bills, and dying. You know, we love spending time together. We have a great relationship, and we have a lot of fun together. And now, you know, we have this family, and we love our family, and we want to spend time with our family, and we want to spend time with, you know, Sophia as she grows up, and our older one is going off to college. Like, we want that time, and earning money in a residual fashion or online, you know, so you can be anywhere and work from anywhere. That's really important to us. So yeah, we're like 10 years in total, I think, from when we had this idea for Jet Set Life, and, you know, kind of living our life in a different way. And it's been a slow process. It hasn't been like an overnight success. We're getting ready to sell one company that is a brick and mortar medical facility. And we're getting ready to sell that within the next 12 months. And then we will truly be location independent, which is our goal. And our why has changed through the years, you know? So it used to be, like I said, our relationship, and we wanted to spend this time together and live our life with passion and full of life, you know, and we always say kind of like the Italians do. The Italians have a saying, when you go over, you ask them something and they go, oh, domani, and that means tomorrow. So if it's business, oh, domani, tonight we eat, we'll talk domani, tomorrow. And so there's something wonderful about that. There could be something very frustrating about that also, but there's something also just wonderful because life comes first. Whereas I feel like in the US, most people, work comes first. Mm-hmm. And that's just not how we operate our life. And so now as we've gone on in our life and we've literally grown in numbers in our family. And now our why is this little baby girl that we have, and being two parents home, raising her full time and showing her what life is about, bringing her places to experience life. It's not about things. I actually don't have very many things for her. Like if you go to people's houses, they have like massive playrooms for their kids. I'll show you. This is her corner. Like she has a dollhouse that she loves to play ponies in, and she has a lot of books and puzzles and things that help her brain develop. But we're not like, you know, tons of things everywhere. And when I had her, it's funny because when I had her is when we made a really big decision to go into add a third company to our world because it wasn't hectic enough, and create a residual income. And that one decision was probably the hardest one we've ever made and the most rewarding, because now it's allowing us truly to become location independent and replacing our income from our brick and mortar business, so we can be with this little girl, and so we can have the flexibility of flying out to San Diego to see our older girl at college whenever they have a parents' weekend or something. And we're not we can be at softball games and baseball games and whatever comes up. So we can truly live our life. And for me, that little munchkin with the bright blue eyes that puked on me for 2 hours last night, she changed our world and she changed our why. And it's so emotional and so deep that when you're thinking about your why, keep asking yourself why. I want $10,000. Why? So I don't stress. Why? So I can, you know, and just keep digging down until you cry. And that's when you know you'll get there.
It's usually like 7 times, I think. You have to ask, why is that important? At least 7 times.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the same thing, by the way, with weight loss or anything like that, or getting your, uncovering why you want to look a certain way or why you want to feel a certain way. You have to dig down to that deep why. You can't, like, you know, it's nice to take a picture of, you know, I know you had Lori Harder on, so she's a friend of mine. It's nice to take a picture of Lori Harder and slap it up on my vision board and go, I want to look like Lori Harder, you know, and that's great because she's amazing and she's a great person. She also has an incredible body. But why? Like, what is that going to get me? Like, what is good for me and why do I want it? Why do I want to look that way? Why is that important? And if you keep peeling back those layers, you'll come to an emotional reason eventually, if you're honest. And sometimes being honest to yourself is the hardest part, but you'll eventually get there. And my husband does something called the morning pages, and it's MOURNING, morning, like your morning. And you basically write 3 pages in the morning, not the morning, but the morning. You write 3, you write 3 pages. You don't let your pen come up, and you get all of the crazy out of your head, all the chatter, all the I'm not good enough, I'll never, all that stuff. You get it out of your head so you can start your day fresh. And sometimes that's where you uncover your why. And I know for me, that's where I uncovered my why with Sophia and what I want to give to her and what of myself I want to give to her, and why it's so important that we accomplish these financial goals so we can be free to do these things with her. And so I think in any part of your life, your relationships, your body, your why is so important. But it's the digging and finding that deep, deep why and allowing it to change as you change, because you'll change and you'll go, oh God, I didn't realize that that's really why I want this. That's really why, like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think, so the thing is like what, and I love that you said, like, it's not about the money, because it's not. It's just like, it's not about the number on the scale. It's not about losing 20 pounds. It's about how you're going to feel when you achieve that. And I think residual income, creating financial abundance for yourself is about creating that security so that then you have that choice freedom. So you can go out and do these things, like have these experiences with your family that are so meaningful, that make life so worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we do whatever we do. And that's where I'm really passionate about opening people up to this vision of, like, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be get up, struggle through the day, go to work, go to bed, do it again the next day. You just have to be open to thinking about things in a different way.
Yeah.
And that's what you guys are so, so great at.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's been a struggle to maintain that, because sometimes, you have obstacles that you hit and you're like, God, like we kept trying to do certain things with our company, Jet Set Life, that we kept hitting wall. And sometimes you have to realize when you're hitting those walls over and over and over, that maybe you're not meant to go through them. Like maybe you're meant to go around in a different way, and you have to be open to that. So like I was talking to Lewis Howes yesterday. We had an interview with him, or we interviewed him, and we were talking about how your end goal is like your vision, right? So whatever that vision that you want, we want 100% time freedom so we can live our life with all of our passions and experience it and share it with our family. That's what we want. That's our end goal. The journey we take to get there is not up to us. You have to do what's next, and you have to do what's next. And the journey that we thought we were going to take 10 years ago is so not where we are now. And if you asked me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, if I would think that I'm doing the things that I'm doing now, that like we weren't having a baby. 5 years ago, we weren't having a baby. We for sure weren't like starting an income with our shakes and, our nutrition line. We for sure weren't going into that. We had already been offered that, and we were like, no. There were so many things that we're doing now that we would, if you asked me 5 years ago, I'd say never, ever, ever. And because we were open to it and just took the next step, we couldn't see it then, but once it showed up right in front of us, we were like, okay, yeah, now's the time. It's timing. Do you know what I mean? Like things are about timing. The end goal, the vision, the ultimate freedom, whatever it is that you're going for is great, and keep that in front of you. But the journey is just not up to you. And you may take a different path than you think you will. And, whether it's to your body or to your bank account, like when you're saying, the scale, like the number doesn't, they don't define you. Whenever somebody is like, yeah, but I want to weigh X, I'm like, awesome. So when you go to the beach, are you bringing your scale to show everybody? Because unless you're bringing your scale and going, I'm 120 pounds, look at like all they're going to see is you in your swimsuit. So shouldn't you focus on that? And take pictures. If you want to see progress, take pictures, because that's your progress. That's what you feel when you look in the mirror. You're not like, you look on the scale, okay, whatever. But don't you care more about what you look at when you see yourself get out of the shower and how you feel about yourself? And if you want to look great on the beach for other people and that's important to you, then shouldn't that be important to you and not the scale? And it's the same thing with your bank account. Like, are you printing an ATM receipt and going, look at how much money I have? Like, who cares? Who cares? It's about your lifestyle. So for us, we live below our means because we love to travel. That's what we spend our money on. So we don't need, the 10,000 square foot house and the Ferraris and the whatever, because I would rather take all of that money and spend 3 weeks in Greece this summer, which is what we do every summer and we have for the last 10 years. And now I get to bring my baby girl with me. And she walks around waving to everybody because she's a ham. And, and everybody knows her name. And this year it's going to be insane because she's now fully walking and, communicating. So, but that experience is worth so much more to me than driving a fancy car. I drive a Prius. I love my Prius. It's amazing. So you know, you got to find what that is for you and that balance and what you want. You know, I'm not saying if you want an amazing car that you shouldn't go out and get it, because if that is what lights you up and that's what you're passionate about, you should go after it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's about those experiences. And so for someone who's like, man, I'm so far from that, I don't even know how to start accessing, like, what would be the thing that would light me up. I know you're also a fan, but Lori mentioned that she read The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. So what would you say would be, like, what was your biggest takeaway from that book, or like from that sort of like mindset shift way of thinking, like, about things in a totally different way?
So, well, there's two things. Okay. So you said two different things there that I'd like to mention. One is, how do you come up with what's that thing for you? What's that passion? What's going to light you up? For me, what we've always done is the dream line from Tim Ferriss. Mm-hmm. So it's basically, you wake up tomorrow morning, you go to the bank, and you have enough money for you and your, 10 generations to live on. Okay. So money's not an object anymore. What do you want to have? What do you want to be? And what do you want to do? And you assign a dollar amount to each of those things, and you come up with, and this is like within the next 6 to 12 months, it's short term. So what do you want to have, be, and do in the next short term? So when I originally did that, I wanted to dance. I had no creative outlet. I wasn't competing at the time. And I was like, I would like to take a dance class, an adult dance class. I didn't even know I had that until I sat down with a glass of wine. I think that's good if you drink, because it just, chills you out. Like, put on some music, light a candle, and just fill out, what do you want to have, be, and do? And you may be surprised by your answers. Like, once you have, the money is out of it. Once you have earned all the money, you've gone shopping, you've had the, whatever it is. If you're a guy, you get the Swedish volleyball team. I don't know, whatever it is. You get all of that done. What do you want to have, be, and do? And it's a process, and you can go through it and figure that out. So that's Tim Ferriss's dream line. Then once you figure that out, The Secret of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker is great. And I've listened to it now 3 times. I'm going to start my 4th time this week. And 3 times since February, by the way. This is I am not someone that reads. My husband reads every book under the sun. I am not that way. I'm very selective about what I read. And the reason that I love this book so much is because when you listen to it, it changes your mindset in how you look at money. And you may not even realize that you look at things a certain way, or why you look at things a certain way. So for me, one of them was, every time he says, poor people, blah, 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 rich people, and he compares it, right? So poor people focus on the problem, rich people focus on the solution. My skin crawls every time he says the word poor and the word rich. And I'm like, oh, I hate that. I hate both of those words. But I'm like, why do I hate both of those words? What was it in my upbringing? What was it in my life that made those words not okay? You will never hear me say, I want to be rich. It's comical in my head, but that's something in my mindset. So there's, words are words, and you assign it a meaning. What mean rich to me and rich to you are 2 different things. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The way you look at that. So the book with T. Harv Eker is just a really good way to figure out where your financial blocks are. Okay. So another one, okay, hit me right between the eyes. And my husband actually forced me to listen to this. We drove to Mississippi to help one of our teammates launch her business. And so it's a 7.5-hour drive with a toddler each direction. So he was like, you're in the car, you're listening to this book. And I was like, I didn't want to. But then when he said this, I was like, okay, that hit me between the eyes. And it was, the middle class wants to be comfortable. And that word comfortable, that 72 degrees, no humidity, perfect Southern California weather, comfortable. That word can prevent you from becoming rich, right? So the reason it hit me between the eyes is because my budget was called my very comfortable budget. Okay. So like, I was like, oh my God, I was like, he's so calling me out right now. I was like, okay, so I see this now. I see that I am trying to keep my brain in this box of comfortable, and I don't want to get too rich and I don't want to get too poor. I want to be comfortable. And so I don't know, there's a lot of things that you can see, like how people in your life spoke about money, experiences that you had around money, the reason, like what you're assigning to money. Like maybe you think rich people, like the term rich bitch, right? Like those things, if you hear those things growing up, subconsciously, they're stuck in your brain and they're there. They're like, and you might not feel that way, but it's in there. So those little things, just becoming aware of that changes it. The other thing is, my biggest takeaway there was having a commitment statement. So I commit to a goal and an end goal, and saying it out loud in the mirror with meaning. And I add a couple Tony Robbins things to it, like move your body before you do it, and say it with certainty. And so I started doing it daily, which is, again, not me. I am not that guy. Like it's not me. No knock to anybody that does it. It has never been me, but I was like, you know what? If I'm going to change my mindset, I'm going to do what he says to do. Yeah. I got to tell you, it's amazing. Like it sets the tone for my day when I commit to it in the morning. And I walk around the streets, like with my baby, like owning it, and I'll say it out loud. And like and then the worst part of it was I had to call somebody and say it to them. And I was like, God, this one's not good. So of course I call Heather, because she's my best friend. And I'm like, I'm about to say something and you can't judge me, And so she laughed and and she's like, I think that's amazing. And so I was like, really? So sometimes just like feeling it and owning it, oh man, gets it out there. So I know I'm very babbly, and
No, you said,
I hope I make sense.
You said so many good things. So just to kind of go through like the things that I'm hearing, number one is awareness. In order to change something, you have to have awareness around it. And when you start to see those limiting beliefs and things that you've picked up along the way, sometimes like from well-meaning people or for protection, to keep ourselves safe, then you can start to untangle like, well, what would it look like to grow past that? Mm-hmm. And I think the other thing you said too is like permission, because I think that a lot of times some of those limiting beliefs are that you should never have too much, be too much, shine too bright. All of that stuff is bad. And when you give yourself permission to start owning what you want, like your true desires, and then sharing it with the people that you love, and then letting them support you in that, it's such a game changer, because then it opens you up to be able to receive it. And I think that's a big piece of it too.
That's huge. I mean, for sure. If you just have awareness of something, like, so in relationships, right? If I do something that bothers Rob, my husband, if he makes me aware of it in a kind way, then how can I do that again and hurt his feelings? You know what I mean? Like, how could I do that without knowing it? Because you can only claim like, I didn't know once until someone makes you aware. So when you do these things in mindset, that you become aware of your triggers. Same thing with food, okay? Whole Foods, for me, I live across the street from Whole Foods. They have a chocolate chip cookie, an oatmeal chocolate chip cookie in their bakery. That is my favorite cookie. And I walk in there and I'm like, oh God, even if I'm here for a rotisserie chicken, I'm like, that cookie calls my name. And it's hard. And, some days I indulge in it and some days I don't. Last night I went in to get a bottle of wine with my husband. He's like, where are you going? Wine's over here. I'm like, I'm on autopilot for the cookie. But I think that me being aware that Whole Foods is a trigger for a cookie, making that awareness changes things. Do you know what I mean? Like, I am now aware of my triggers. So being aware of your triggers. Also, realizing that with things, money things that you've picked up, things that you've learned, maybe through your parents or your friends or your spouse, those things, your limiting beliefs about it, things that are limiting you, like not being able to hear the word rich without your skin crawling, like becoming aware of that almost like takes it away, you know, just that awareness of that makes my skin crawl and why, and, you know, figuring that out and then realizing, okay, well, someone in my life had this issue. It's not my issue because I don't have an issue with it. I don't have an issue with rich people. I don't have an issue. I actually think rich people do more good than bad. But I think somewhere in my history, someone put in my head that rich people only care about themselves. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's what my thought was. I think that's where it came from. But my personal belief is that most people, when they get massive wealth, give it away. And they go to that higher level of giving. And that's how I feel. So whenever I have that trigger of, oh, he said rich again, I have to remind myself, oh, but rich people give a lot away too. And so that's how I think that just knowing it is half the battle, honestly.
And then you can see what your thermostat is. Like when it comes to your weight, if things start getting too good, you sabotage, or you start making too much money, you sabotage because you're trying to keep yourself in that little bubble. But when you start to realize it's safe for me to expand, it's safe for me to become that version of myself that I've been desiring for so long, then it's like, oh, okay, like I can receive that and step into that level.
Yeah. And also what you just said too, with the people sabotaging yourself, you know, I never understood why we did that. So when I was competing for years, I would start getting really good result. And all of a sudden I'd be like going to Whole Foods for that cookie. And you know, I'm like, I know I have to be on stage in 3 weeks. Why are you doing, like, don't go to Whole Foods, like go somewhere else, like send Rob to like, why would you put yourself in the lion's den if you know this is not good? And, you know, I think part of that is what I've learned this year. I never understood it, but my company, our company that we work with, put out this mind body program. Rod Harrison did it. And he used to be one of the lead trainers under Tony Robbins. And what I learned was the cycle of growth, and sabotage comes in transformation. So you have inception, which is like, oh my God, I'm doing a new diet. I'm so excited. Oh my God, I'm getting ready. I started this new program. I'm so excited. But you don't know what you don't know, but you're so excited. You don't know what's about to happen. Then you start doing it and you're like, oh, this is hard. Like, oh, wait a minute. I ate clean for a week and I didn't lose any weight, and I expected to be 10 pounds down, you know, like, and that deception, you know, happens and you're like, oh, this isn't going to work. And now your motivation is down, that rah is down. And also you're not getting a result and things are hard. And so some people quit there. Mm-hmm. But then the ones that continue on and start getting that success, like you were saying, and then sabotage themselves, it's in the next one. It's in transformation. They start to get the success. They start to get the results, but it's still really hard. And they're like, oh, this is going to be so hard forever. And so I might as well just give up. And so I'm going to go to Whole Foods and eat the cookie. And I think that's where that comes in. But if you just know, and again, awareness, if you just keep pushing and you don't go get that cookie or whatever, and you just keep pushing, you'll break through to identity. And then it becomes your new identity. And then it becomes who you are. And then it becomes where I am now. I can walk in there and I can get the cookie, and I can walk in there and not get the cookie. It's who I am. I'll have a cookie if I want a cookie, you know? And that's where you are. You're in identity now. You own it. It's like if you use going to the gym, a new person going to the gym, they're like, got a membership. I'm so excited for Zumba, you know, and then they go to Zumba and then they're sore and they're like, God, I can't follow the steps and it's so hard and I'm so sore. And I didn't lose any weight this week. And then they keep going and then they see a little weight loss and now they're getting the steps, but they still have to like count the steps and it's not, you know, who they are. And they have to think in the morning, should I go to the gym today? Should I not go to the gym today? And they have all of this chatter. But once they break through to identity, they get up in the morning, they put their gym shoes on, they go and they know the steps and they're there and they own it. Mm-hmm. And if you just know, if you're just aware of that cycle of growth, quite literally, that you're going to go through these phases, these seasons of whatever it is you're trying to conquer, whether it's your body, your bank account, whatever, your relationship, you're going to go through these seasons. You have got to make it through identity. If you don't at least give yourself that chance, then you have shorted yourself on an opportunity. And so if you don't get through to identity through the period where you become consciously or unconsciously competent, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're 16, you're consciously uncompetent, right? You're driving a car and you have to think about everything and you have to 10 and 2 and you got to do the whole thing. But now when you're like 35, like sometimes I get to the mall and I'm like, I drove here, right? Like I don't even remember the drive because you're unconsciously competent, and that's where you need to get. And it's hard and it's not easy, but being aware of that cycle of growth is so powerful because you can get through anything if you do that. You know what I mean? Whether in any aspect of your life.
Yeah, it just takes time. And I always say it's like those baby steps that are practiced consistently are those steps that add up to that big sustainable change. That's where we're headed. So, oh my gosh, I feel like we talked about so much and so hopefully got like really valuable tips that people were able to take.
I hope so.
I think so. Like, I feel like this is the stuff. Like, this is how you change your life. This is literally the work that makes that sustainable change. So if people do want to take this further with you, I know that you have a special free gift you're going to be offering.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about that and where they can find it?
Yeah. So it's actually kind of all about what we're talking about. It's about mindset. So we have a course. It's free. It's called the Jet Set Mindset. And you can get it at freejetsetmindsetcourse.com. And, again, it's totally free, so no one's going to ask you for anything. But you can go through this, and we're going to be adding a couple of things to it because we just learned a new goal-setting tactic last week. And it's really super valuable. And actually, we learned it from Chris Harder, Lori's better half, or other half, I should say, not better half. But, you know, that course for me is, we talk about the cycle of growth. We talk about a lot of these things that we've picked up through our life and through our experiences of how you can shift your mindset and really start to live your dream life and live your passion. So yeah, freejetsetmindsetcourse.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kim. This was amazing. And I will see everyone else in the next interview.
Okay, thanks, Sheila.